Hello and welcome to our cruise log. 2010 was our first experience into what many people call the cruising life. Of course, as our first cruise, we weren't exactly sure what to expect, but boy were we not disappointed. Unknown to us at the time, Gail's mother surprised us with a decorated room to celebrate our 24th wedding anniversary. If you're going to start off a vacation, that's a spectacular way to get it going. I think the moment that stands out for both of us was the first port, Jamaica. Although getting to see and explore Jamaica for the first time ever was amazing, putting eyes upon lush green vegetation was quite breathtaking. The majority of our cruises we've taken have been out of Galveston, Texas for 7 nights. More times than not, those cruises always start with 2 straight days on the water. So, you can imagine, after seeing nothing but water for more than 48 hours, the green land was a sight for sore eyes. Oh, did I mention it was also raining? That rain could possibly dampen a few parades, but not ours. Anyway, we had the best time visiting Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel, ready to do it again. Okay, time for cruise number 2. We feel like cruising pros, but I'm sure we'll keep continuing to learn the ins and outs as time goes by. This cruise came in 2011 and was another 7-night cruise out of Galveston, Texas, with only one of the ports repeated, Cozumel. If we only knew, Cozumel, as you'll see, is pretty much a given when cruising out of Galveston, but cruising is as much a journey as it is the destination. What was a takeaway from this cruise? Well, if comparing this ship to our ship in 2010, I'd say quite different. 2 of the differences were in the ship's attractions. The Mariner of the Seas has a rock climbing wall and an ice skating rink. Sure helps in the way of activities when you're cruising the big blue ocean for 2 straight days. If considering the ship's design, the interior of a Royal Caribbean ship is quite different than Carnival, but both cruise lines have their bright sides. Out of the last 2 cruises, this was the first time we took a tender from the ship into the port, which was at Belize City. Kind of reminded us of taking the water taxi around Venice. Well, that's it for this cruise. I wonder when and where will our next adventure take us. Ah, 2013. Time to change things up. Well, partially. We will still be cruising out of Galveston, Texas, but this itinerary will be to the Eastern Caribbean versus the Western Caribbean. Also, this will be the first cruise with other family members, specifically Gail's parents, Roger and Linda. Before the cruise, however, Gail's parents stopped by our house for the first opportunity to see their newest great-grandchild, Autumn. Okay, to be fair, a little cuddle time with Alex as well. Now, on to the cruise. This cruise is on the Carnival Magic, which is very impressive, but the chance to travel east from Galveston is a bonus. One of the stops on the itinerary is Key West. Many people might say, that's in the United States. How exciting could that be? Well, if you've never been there before, it's neat to see something new. Plus, doesn't hurt that you still have family around to share it with. To be quite honest, The entire trip stands out as being spectacular. However, in Key West, we visited the Ernest Hemingway House, and in Nassau, got a chance to see the iconic hotel you see in pictures galore. Anyway, another wonderful memory to store in the memory bank of precious time and opportunities. Where next? I know, but please hang around for the next adventure. Our next cruise marks a milestone, and surprisingly, it's not out of Galveston, Texas. However, it's not far away. It's at the Port of Houston at Bayport, which closed a few years after this cruise, and now Galveston serves as the main port. Most of the family had to fly in from the West Coast, but for us, just another trip east on Interstate 10. This cruise marks the 50th wedding anniversary of Gail's parents, Roger and Linda. On this trip, we had quite the big crew, 18 in total. Most of the itinerary is what we've seen before, but again, cruising is as much a journey as it is the destination. So many memories came out of this cruise, but the fact we were able to get about 5 outside cabins all in a row made for some unique opportunities. Yes, the ship has plenty of outside visiting opportunities, but with so many connected cabins in a row, we were able to open the dividers for what you could call a very long hallway. At the end of the day, I think everybody had an amazing time. The grandchildren and the great-grandchildren absolutely loved the kids' activities while on board, and even an occasional ice cream treat. Dressing up for formal dinner and taking fancy pictures sure helps to cement the moment in time. As we continue to move along in our cruising journal, this may not be the last time you see some of the crew from this trip. Please stick around for the rest. In 2015, we hopped on another cruise out of Galveston, but back on a Royal Caribbean ship, the Liberty of the Seas. Out of all the cruise lines, Royal Caribbean is probably our favorite. As mentioned before, Cozumel is almost a given out of Galveston, but we also visited a new port. In 2010, we stopped at Montego Bay in Jamaica, and now for this trip, Falmouth, Jamaica. During this trip, we also encountered a new experience, the Flow Rider. Hours of fun spent on the water there, with even Gail getting involved on our last day. One neat feature on this ship was being able to walk to the very front of the ship. In Cozumel, we also parked next to this ship, and at that time, this was one of Royal Caribbean's bigger ships, the Allure of the Seas. If you stick with us long enough, it's possible we might get a chance to cruise on that ship. I know cruising is not for everybody, but this is a great way to travel. Food, entertainment, your room, it's all right there. Did I mention traveling at the holiday times is neat as well? The decorations truly make a difference in the ambiance. So far, a total of 5 cruise ship adventures. Can life possibly get any better? Well, stick around for the next cruise adventure, which not only isn't out of Galveston, but it's also not even in the state of Texas. Okay, here we go. What's that I hear? Oh, the sound of the airplane taking off. But where's it going? The excitement is surely in the air. Or is that just the smell of jet fuel? Oh well, where are we headed? Destination Miami, Florida. This trip was in 2016, and everything was a new adventure, from the city of Miami to all 4 stops. By far, I think our favorite stop was Puerto Rico. My Spanish came in awfully handy. The only thing that is somewhat grueling is the humidity. When in Puerto Rico, we walked all the way from the cruise port to the San Juan National Historic Site, Punto del Morro. Good thing I ate a nutritious and healthy breakfast before we left. If we rated the rest of our stops, St. Thomas would come in second, but again, all stops were beyond marvelous. Oh, I think I may have forgotten to mention they had some Halloween fun and decorations during this cruise. Gail and I were also fortunate enough to join up with some other cruisers during one of the trivia contests. I'd like to say I had a positive effect on the outcome, but despite my lack of trivia knowledge, we managed to take first place. Finally, we won a ship on a stick. Wow, these last handful of cruises have been amazing. If not mistaken, I do believe on our next cruise there might be a surprise for somebody. Please join us for our next adventure. Do you happen to remember? At the end of the last cruise, I mentioned there might be a surprise for somebody. Well, that surprise would come in the form of surprising Gail's parents. Here's how it happened. In 2017, we planned a cruise with two of our grandchildren, Alex and Autumn. This cruise would be again out of Galveston and again on the same cruise ship we took in 2015. However, there was a big difference between these two cruises. The difference came in the way of a renovation to the ship. The biggest update, the addition of 3 slides. Oh, I forgot. I was telling you about a surprise. Long story short, Gail's parents booked a room on the same cruise, but unfortunately, due to passport issues, we had to cancel. Turns out, things worked out and the cruise was back on, although we didn't tell Gail's parents. Surprise! Anyway, this trip was just as spectacular as all the rest. One last milestone for this cruise. Autumn turned 4 years old. What an amazing time this was with the great-grandparents for our 2 grandchildren. Oh, another sighting of Clifford the Big Red Dog. I suppose that's where this trip will end. Hope to see you on the next adventure. Seriously, something must give. After all these cruises, can't we slow down? Well, not only did we skip the 2018 cruising circuit, but we also decided to just do a 5-night cruise in 2019. Yes, sorry to disappoint, out of Galveston again, but still a wonderful time. Only problem with the 5-night cruise, by the time you learn the fastest route to the buffet line, it's then time to go home. This cruise happened to fall during the holiday season again. No matter the length of the cruise, it's hard not to come away with the biggest smile on your face, but maybe a bigger belly than when you first arrived. Anyway, who knew what was going to happen in early 2020? So we'll see you again in 2023. "2023, here we are. A lot has happened in the last 3 years, but the itch to get back on the water never left. Surprise, the 2023 cruising landscape is changing. If you stick with us through the rest of this cruising log, you'll see what I mean. But for now, January of 2023, we're hitting the airways to get to our next cruise port, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Not only are we in a completely new port, we are also preparing to experience an entirely new cruise line, Holland America. Oh, forgot to mention, this is also a 10-night cruise with plenty of new stops along the way. Because of some docking issues, this cruise diverted from one of our stops and instead went to Puerto Rico. Yes, Puerto Rico. See, time for me to brush up on my Spanish again. How do I even begin to tell you what stands out about this cruise? Trust me, it's not easy. This ship didn't really have outside activities such as a rock climbing wall, big slides, a flow rider, but it made up for those things in the way of entertainment. There was a rock band, a jazz band, a mini orchestra, and don't forget all the new ports. Can I pick a favorite? Well, no surprise, I'd say that's Puerto Rico, but all the other spots had their own charm to offer. In the end, whether the shows, the music, the food, the ports, it all comes down to spending time with your loved ones. Okay, don't go too far. I believe another cruise may be right around the corner in 2023. See you then. Already? Seriously? We just got off a cruise back in January, and now we're off to another one here in May of 2023? Yes, we are. Looks like it's a go, and we'll be hopping on a plane again for this destination. Instead of the East Coast, we're now flying to the West Coast, specifically Long Beach, California. For this cruise, we have another big crew with us, 14 in total. Looking back at this cruise, what sticks out as the highlight? Well, again, absolutely everything. We even got to see the Beatles. This was the first time for some of us cruising down into the Baja California Peninsula. Didn't know what to exactly expect, but whatever it was, it delivered. The ship, the Carnival Panorama, had a lot to offer in the way of food and entertainment. Did you expect anything else? The shows were fabulous. There was a sky ride and a sky course and also some water slides. It seems most of us gave it a go and I believe had a lot of fun. I know, by now it all sounds the same, but it's extremely hard to put into words the overall experience. Again, having family along for the ride makes the memories so much more vivid and priceless. What's that I hear? The clamoring for another family cruise? Not a bad idea at all. Any takers to be the planners for this next party? So here we are at the end, but I hear rumors there may be another cruise happening in 2023. Please hang on for some more exciting fun to come. Okay, I'm Screaming Uncle. August 2023 and yet another cruise? What? They have dessert on this cruise? I'm in. For this cruise, we are back to our old stomping grounds, Galveston, Texas. As with some of the other cruises, the stops are the same, but we just couldn't pass up this deal. A chance to finally set sail on one of the biggest ships currently on the water, the Royal Caribbean Allure of the Seas. You may recall, back in 2015, we were parked next to this ship in Cozumel. Yes, it looked big, but when you finally have a chance to walk on board, it's massive. Just like the other ships, there are a ton of things to do, but this ship seems to be in a league of its own. It's so big, they've doubled up on the rock climbing walls and the flow rider. Compared to a few of the other cruises, the ports were brand new, so there was a lot of excitement from that perspective. However, with this ship and its overall size, everywhere you turned was a destination within, from the Royal Promenade to the boardwalk and then even Central Park. Oh, by the way, the shows were amazing too. The ice skating shows, the aqua shows, and even the theatrical productions. Kinda sounds like all we did were shows and outside activities, but trust me, we found time to eat as well. Okay, that's it for now. Not sure if there'll be any more cruises in 2023, but hopefully not too far down the road from here. See you then.